Welcome to Investing in Cannabis, everybody. I'm Brandon David. Do you remember the Microsoft Surface? No, not the iPad competitor that's everywhere now, but the tabletop touchscreen computer that was supposed to be everywhere. I mean, in casinos and museums and your dentist office, it was going to be the next thing. Well, that didn't happen, but we've got a cannabis version on the show tonight. So we've got John and Jeff. How you doing, guys?
Great.
Of the Peak Beyond.
Yep.
First of all, what does the name mean? What's Peak Beyond mean? Where'd that name come from?
Yeah, so the company name is all about discovery and adventure and learning and just being on a journey. And so this is a learning tool, and we think that it matches up with what we're providing here.
Very cool. So take me through a little bit of the elevator pitch, right? What's the goal here? What's the mission?
So it's an interactive smart table for cannabis retail, and eventually more than just cannabis retail, but it's a way for customers to learn about the products that they're interested in while they're in the retail space. And so for dispensaries, it's a really easy way for them to educate their customers and maybe free up lines, spend less on training staff, and for the customers to really engage in an interactive way while they're in the dispensary.
Plus, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So if I come in, I'm stoned in a dispensary, I just want to play around. Let's take a look at it. Let's just start playing around a little bit here. So you got a nice welcome. Hello. It said place a jar in the glowing box to learn about that product. Okay.
So go ahead.
So I've got this jar here.
There you go.
And we've got a sensor on here. What's the technology under here?
Secret sauce.
Secret sauce.
Yeah.
Proprietary?
Working on it.
All right.
It's based on capacity.
So this is the value. Yeah?
Yes.
This is where the value. Great.
Yes.
Cool. So I'm going to put this on here. And this is running Windows 10. You told me before. What kind of machine is this, though? What are we running here?
So yeah, it's a Windows 10 with
it's an Intel
capacitive
PC.
touchscreen.
Intel PC.
Yeah.
Small Intel PC and a capacitive monitor.
Got it.
We've got the software that recognizes the markers, and we've got a database of information that connects the marker recognition with what's visible on the table.
Rad. And it was instant. I mean, it worked really well, by the way. Cool. And so now we've put that on there. Supposedly there would be a bunch of cannabis in this jar, correct?
Or it could be an edible or a printable, for example.
Could be anything. A printable.
Printable,
a printable.
yeah.
Got it.
Printable.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I thought you said printable. I was like, is this a new category?
No. We're not limited to flower, basically. So if a dispensary wants to feature, for example, a really awesome new water pipe that they have in their store, they can put that on the table, or edible products. And so we're partnering with a lot of different types of companies and brands. We're particularly excited about helping flower companies, cultivators, create brands for their products, because we don't see a whole lot of that in cannabis right now like we do in other industries, especially food. And so we want to help cultivators start to create recognizable brands, and they can represent themselves here on the table.
Got it. So I've got a grower from Mendocino, special, top shelf. I put the jar on here. It's going to give me all the info about that grower and where it comes from and all that.
Yeah, maybe that grower's got a really amazing story. Maybe they've got an awesome grow that they want their customers to know about, but the customer might not get a chance to know that. And so this is a really great way to connect the people who are buying the product with the people who are growing the product, and have the cultivators tell their story in a good way.
And because the cultivators can now come out of the shadows, because it's been legalized here in California, branding is going to become an increasingly big part.
That's how they're going to stand out. Also, the powerful thing about this is it does integrate with point of sale systems. So for brands, they get a chance to market to consumers directly at the moment where they're making a decision, and that's been really attractive to them.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so what else is on here? Just in the demo anyway. Let's just
this would be kind of like a highlights page, and if you're a brand or a grower, for example, this might be where you show the customer a video.
Quick video.
And so for, this is a company called Rebel Grown. They are really proud of the way that they grow their products. And so this would be a chance for them to show the customer how they grow their products from the farm where they grow it.
And there really would be no other way to do that.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, unless the dispensary had a TV up running, but that's never going to happen.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Or social media, but it's not based on, the in-store interaction.
Right.
And so this is a way for them to do that in the store.
Okay.
They have menus and stuff behind the counter, but those aren't anything that you personally engage with. Kind of go on a journey yourself, like a self-directed tour.
And personally, when I'm in line at the dispensary, it's kind of fast.
Yeah.
It's a little intimidating, right?
Yeah.
So like you often don't have time to like look up. You got to like pick your strain and try to remember it.
Sure. And so, I mean, that brings up a good point is that different dispensaries are seeing this useful in different parts of their store. So some of them want it in their consumption lounge. Some of them want it as an alternative to their regular lines, or some of them want it in their waiting area when people are just waiting to get into the dispensary, so that people can learn about product or just have fun while they're just waiting to get into the storeroom.
There's nothing worse than somebody getting to the front of the line and having no idea what they want to order, right?
Right. Then
Cool.
they piss everybody off.
Yeah, they piss everybody off.
And imagine too, after, now that we've legalized, how many new consumers are entering the market who really have no idea about the product that they want. And so we've got, millions of new people who are going to start consuming cannabis for the first time that are going to need education. And so this is a way to educate consumers efficiently and take the burden off of dispensary staff.
But it's highly dependent on the data that is in this machine, right?
Yeah.
Or as part of the platform, right?
Yep.
So you talk a little bit of where that content is going to come from, what's going to be included in the platform.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're partnering with existing database suppliers. Some of the people that we're talking to are Pot Guide, Colorado Pot Guide, and Leafly. We're talking to POS providers like MJ Freeway. They're going to integrate with their entire catalog of product information.
So like with Leafly, I know they have an API. I don't know the extent to which it's open, but is that what we're talking about here? You're going to be able to...
Some of it. We actually, we're going to give dispensary owners and stores their own opportunity to choose what they want. Some people want to make it as easy as possible for them. They say, just give me your table. I want it populated from somewhere else. I don't want to think about it. Other people are saying, actually, we want to control all the content ourselves because we have our own language that we like to use. We have our own way of describing products that only we can do. So how can you make it easy for us to do that? So really, it's just up to the dispensary's needs. And that's been one of the most interesting things about this process is knowing that every dispensary wants something different, but we have a solution that's flexible depending on what they want.
It's classic customer development,
Yeah.
right? Find out what they want and go do it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so let's see what else is on here.
So yeah, here we would pull in like some attributes, and this is our basic prototype, and we're developing more features in the next few months. But in this basic version, you can start with highlights, and you get THC content, CBD content, video. You can move into attributes and learn kind of how the product might affect you.
Very cool.
And then featured reviews. So if there are popular bud tenders at a specific dispensary who people trust, they could provide their insight on the table as well.
Or it potentially could be reviews from any other number of sources.
And in the future, we're going to be, users are going to be able to sign into the table via an account. And so they might be populating the reviews, for example, on that section.
And that gives us a really good chance to show customer history. So kind of like, you're visiting a dispensary in Colorado for the first time. What did you buy when you were in California? Hey, you're back. Why don't we recommend what this store has in stock for you?
Your kind of common Amazon suggested people like you bought this.
Yeah.
And so we can track that. And then one of our favorite things about the table is that we're developing a new style of gesture. So we have the gestures that we're used to on our phones. And being a table, we have a new opportunity here for gesturing. And so, for example, if you push this jar forward, which is reminiscent of, yes, I want this, the table knows, okay, the customer wants to purchase this product.
Very cool. And then this would be dispensed to you at the counter. It'd be like, here's your number.
Yep.
How would that work?
Yeah, and so you can choose your amount, add it to the cart, and then if you slide this back, you can even switch to a different product, but your cart is stored up here. You can change the quantity again, and when you click yes, that'll be integrated through the POS systems, and the back of house will be notified of the order and bring it to the customer. Another feature that we're working on is being able to pay at the table itself. So you might have like a credit card system here, or even Apple Pay or another system, so that they can pay.
Which is a whole other issue for a different episode about payments. Let's talk about economics for a second. This is a pretty sophisticated computer piece of technology here. How much does it cost? How much are you thinking about selling it for? What's the economic?
We're running a leasing model for dispensaries, and we haven't nailed down the final price yet, but it'll be around $500 a month. And so we've gotten actually really great feedback from dispensaries that they're paying for other systems that cost way more money. And this is something that solves a lot of problems for them, and they're excited about the price.
Got it. And what does one cost to you?
The cost of goods is around $1,100.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. less than I would have expected, actually. And do you think at scale, if you were buying 100 of them at a time, how much can that come down? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, it'll come down. We don't know the exact number, but it
pretty
comes
significantly.
Down. Yeah.
The screen manufacturer said something like 30%, but I know that in the future we're going to start working on proprietary screens of our own so that, we assemble them ourselves and we don't have to go through a third party.
Yeah. So I'm kind of seeing like 3 revenue models here, right? There's the IP and the technology, which you won't tell me what it does or what it is, right? So that could be licensed any number of different ways, right? So that's one. The secondary is the licensing of the actual machines for a dispensary, the leasing of the actual machines, right? And then the third is all the integrations and the data that you're collecting here.
And there's actually, so the data is actually going to be a huge point for us because we're really learning about what consumers are interested in while they're buying a product. And that data is going to be huge for this industry. In addition, we're running rentals, so for events, and then we're going to take this and expand out of cannabis. So we're looking at wineries, breweries. We actually just tested the product at a vintage antique shop, and it did extremely well there. We got them their second highest sales day of all time, and they were selling products faster than they ever have before, and customers loved it. But
I mean, first of all, on that note, it's because people felt really connected to making a purchase when they had a chance to learn about it, especially in a place like Vintage where there's always a story behind something, right? But in addition to that, capturing that customer data, how are they shopping? How big is their basket size? How long are they spending looking at products? How often do they switch between products before making a decision? Like those are all data points that we're going to capture.
Super valuable. Super valuable.
In addition to that, another revenue stream potentially is for brands to leverage their relationships with dispensaries. So they say to dispensaries, hey, let's work out a deal with you to get some real estate on the table because we want to be a featured product.
So it's a way for the dispensary,
so they could pay for this corner. Basically.
Well, the dispensary could say, imagine, a shelf in front of the table, and the dispensary is then leveraging their existing relationships with brands. So if the dispensary is already, promoting a certain product and the brand is paying for that promotion, this is just another tool, a marketing tool for the dispensary. So they can actually recoup their own monthly costs on the table and use this as a marketing space to charge their brands that they're featuring.
It very much is a platform in that way, which is what investors love to write checks for, is platforms. Yeah, cool. This is not a traditional cannabis business in any sense of the word. I'm curious about what your backgrounds are because you've kind of jumped wholeheartedly into what is a technology business, honestly. Yeah,
I mean, we didn't start in cannabis. We started this in food and wine. I started making these tables a few years ago for the food and wine industry. And so the interaction there was, a table, much like there's things that you inherently do around them. You place an object down, in this case, a wine glass. When you place your wine glass down, it gives you all the history about where the wine came from, and it makes a food pairing. So if there's a food centerpiece at the middle of the table, you can say, okay, take a sip of this, try the food, see how it works. So it's kind of an educational platform where it has the same roots in people really wanting to know about what they're consuming, right?
And what happened in the wine industry? Why cannabis?
We are still planning on going into wine. We're using cannabis as a springboard into that because we think that cannabis is such a beautifully intimate kind of market right now, and especially a much smaller market than the wine industry where we can really gain a bigger portion of the share, test our product, make sure it works, grow, and then launch into other industries.
I think people in cannabis are just more willing to try new things too.
That's true.
Yeah, and also the bigger companies that are doing this, in other places, which actually we're not really seeing it in retail yet. But the companies that are developing similar technology don't really want to get into cannabis. And so for us, we have a really great opportunity because we've been working on this for a long time and we're ready to bring it to market. And we're getting great responses so far.
Yeah, so take me through the timeline. I know you got your big pitch in Vegas, ArcView next week. Good luck with that for sure. And then the program is effectively over for you, correct? Canopy. Yeah. Talk about the Canopy experience a little bit. How's it been going through the incubator?
Yeah.
It's been good. It's been good.
Canopy has been amazing.
Yeah.
We entered into the program really excited and eager to develop this product. And I think we made some smart decisions. This is our newest prototype. Our previous prototypes didn't really look like this.
Well, what were different about
Yeah.
So I mean, so this is more reminiscent of your smartphone, right? But what we had before was this kind of archaic projector and infrared camera setup, which took maybe a half hour to set up and then a half hour to calibrate, and it was very sensitive to sunlight, and it was a very finicky thing that only worked maybe like 70% of the time, if that. And so this is way more robust, it's way more portable, and it's sexier, honestly.
Yeah, and so
it's smaller than I expected, which I really like.
And
like looking at the website and everything, I thought it was going to be like a big.
Well, this is our standard model, and so this is for individual use or just small groups of people, and then we're developing a more communal model that's like 42 inches diagonally. That would be more of an experience that would be similar to wine tasting or going to a craft beer pub or something like that, where people gather around and they taste things or try things together. It'd be great for a consumption lounge. But yeah, this prototype is one of the things that we've been able to develop while in Canopy, and we've just advanced our business model so much. We've made great connections, awesome advisors, and we've just advanced the idea to a more professional place where we can actually go out now and seek investment and be on this show. And we got the follow-up investment from Canopy, and we're getting a lot of just momentum from being in this program. So we're really excited now to continue developing new features for the table that's going to make a big difference for our beta program, which is what's next. Is we're running a beta program for 3 months with a select group of dispensaries in the Bay Area. And it's completely free for them. And during that phase, we're going to be learning from them, how to make the product better and convert them to early adopters, and then start general availability early next year and start going into the market.
Very cool. Very cool. And when does that start? When does the beta program start?
We're aiming for January. January.
Nice. And how many dispensaries will participate in that?
We're aiming for 10. Right now we have
around 5, I think.
Yeah.
Got it.
We have a handful of them. We want to curate them to the best dispensaries that we align with, that we think is the most symbiotic relationship, that we can learn the most from. They can be most valuable in helping us figure out what to do.
You're going to learn a ton.
And on that note, like some of the things that we've already learned is that when we started off, we were thinking that this was only meant for high-end dispensaries. And since then, we've learned actually, high-end dispensaries love it, and lower-end dispensaries really see this as a great tool to kind of increase their competitive, nature in the industry. And it's much easier to get one of these things than
it's not that expensive.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the model you outlined for a dispensary is not a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Especially if they can recoup a portion of that cost with brands.
Yeah. That advertising network is going to take a little while, but definitely that'll be a ancillary value as well. Cool. So tell me a little bit about what kind of cannabis you like. I love to connect kind of the everyday, like real world work you're doing with what kind of cannabis consumer you are. Some of my favorite questions to ask. So when you're done programming, touchscreen interfaces and you go home at night, what's your deal? What kind of strains? What are you into?
Yeah, I mean, I typically lean towards sativas just because we're creative people and we're usually working, and less so it's hard to just completely relax. So sativas are a favorite. Also, I like to get like a little bit of a buzz, like microdose, and just carry that throughout the day if I want to. Never really go too hard, and so...
Me too.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's times that I go too hard. I think everybody has those moments. But David Hua of Meadow taught me that about a year and a half ago. Like, just smoke a little bit and then go back to work.
Yeah.
And that was like an epiphany for me. Anyway.
Same for me. I think when I left college, I started realizing that maybe there's a different way to do it than how high can you get.
You don't have to smoke all of it right then.
Right now, exactly. Yeah. No, I'm a fan of the microdoses as well, and I like to smoke spliffs, just a kind of a sprinkling. I don't know if tobacco is a dirty word around here, but I like
it's not a dirty word. I don't smoke a lot of tobacco, but there's lots of spliff heads in the world. Yeah. What's your ratio? How much tobacco to cannabis?
Like 30-70.
30-70.
30% cannabis.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's opposite than I would have expected. Well, now it's a dirty word.
The reason, right? I mean, no, the reason is like you say, you want to smoke one, you want to have a glass of wine, you want to smoke another one, you want a glass of wine, you don't want to just get ripped all at once.
Good stuff. I mean, some people do, and that's okay. To each their own.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, it has been a real pleasure. This is very, very cool. I love when technology and cannabis intersect. That's why I do this show. So thanks for being on here. Good luck in Vegas next week and beyond. Peak beyond.
There we go.
Great to meet you guys.
Thanks, man.
Cool.
Thanks again.
Thanks a lot.
And thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Hey there. Thanks for watching. Every week we bring you the best stories in the new cannabis industry, the founders, the investors. We help you start a company. We help you invest in companies. If you want to learn more every week, you can subscribe, like right here. We also check out these 2 other great videos here and here. You're going to learn a lot, guys. My name's Brandon David. Thanks for watching.